Hello everyone, welcome to my channel where we talk about mangas and sometimes books. As for today's video, I have the reading log for the month of August, and as you can see, there's a lot to talk about. I ended up reading a total of 18 volumes. I completed two series and I decided to continue with others. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about, so let's get started. So this pile here is all BL and this one is the non-BL. So I'm going to start off with this one, and let's start off with, let me push this one a little bit back. And this one is Tamon's B-Side. This is the second volume. Here is the back and the third one and the back. So if you don't know what Tamon's B-Side is about, we essentially follow Otage, who is a high school student. This is her, and she follows this Japanese boy group, and she is the biggest fan of Tamon, which is this guy right here. And at the beginning of the story, we see that she's getting a job because she wants to buy like merch and CDs and all of that. And one day, one of her colleagues calls in sick, so she works as a house cleaner, and because this person called in sick, she has to go in and clean the place of this person. And once she gets into this house, she learns that the guy that she's going to be cleaning his place is Tamon, but Tamon is not like the flashy guy that sings up on stage and is really cheerful and all of that. She gets this Tamon who is very shy, like that's the type of Tamon she gets. He only wears hoodies and he's like depressed and like he doesn't know what to do with himself. He has like, I don't know how to explain it, but Tamon is he's really funny, especially in those moments, like for example here. Let's see if I can find. Anyways, yeah, so that's the Tamon that she gets, but he's trying to come out of that like shelf that shell that he's in, where he's really shy, and he wants to be also the Tamon that's up on stage. So he wants to change, and that's where Otage is going to come in, because she's going to help him experience different things and help him be more comfortable with himself. And yeah, but the thing is, because Otage is like the biggest Tamon fan, he sometimes releases that like fancy flirty Tamon on Otage, for example here, and that's like Otage starts freaking out. And yeah, I think so far the story is, I'm liking the story a lot right now. In this second and third volume, we are going to meet this guy right here, who is part of the band as well. In like fan meetings and like TV shows, like they pretend to be like really close, like they're really good friends, but the reality is that he is really mean to Tamon. And yeah, and he in a way starts to like develop interest in Otage, so that's going to be a whole another issue. And I feel like as the volumes move on, we might get to meet other like band members, so I cannot wait to get to those other volumes. But so far I really like Tamon. I feel like if you want to have a really good laugh and just have a good time, I 100% recommend it. So far we are mainly focusing on the comedic part and like getting to know Tamon and who he truly really is. And yeah, I cannot wait to read the rest and have a better opinion of this story. But so far I'm having a lot of fun. And next off, let's talk about Kaiju number 8. Okay, so Kaiju number 8, I ended up rereading the 9th volume because this was the last volume we got last year, I think. And here is the inside cover, the other one, and this one. And I ended up reading the rest of the volumes that have been coming out this year. So we have here volume 10, #11, #12. This is my favorite cover, and the inside illustrations, and the last one, which is volume 13. Cover and the inside. So if you don't know what Kaiju number 8 is about, we follow a group of people who are part of the Kaiju Defense Force, and in this world we are like in modern Japan, but there are certain monsters that come out often to attack the city, and that's where the defense force comes in. So we follow our main character, who is this guy. His name is Hibino, and he is someone who's been trying to get into the defense force for a while, for a really long time, but he never actually managed to get into it. That is until there's a bit of an accident. So Hibino works at the cleaning company, which I found to be quite interesting. I really wish we could have explored that like aspect of the story a bit, like just a bit more, because Hibino works at the cleaning company, which clean after the kaiju attacks. So when there's an attack, there's like building destruction, they have to get rid of the kaiju part, and Hibino works at this this company, and so he worked as part of the cleaning crew. And let me get the first volume. So this is the first one. It still has this sticker, and I need to get rid of that. But yeah, so this is where we meet Hibino. I'm pretty sure that's his name. I'm sorry. Yeah, Kafka Hibino. And he's like, as you can see, he's at the moment cleaning something up. And we also meet another very important character, which is this guy, who I always, you guys know, Reno. So they start working as at the same, like as co-workers, and they are put together because Hibino has been working here for a really long time, so he's supposed to like train Reno, but Reno is only there temporarily because he's also going to take the test to join the defense force. So during this time, they're cleaning up something and a kaiju attacks them. The thing is, Hibino, he's like screaming, and when he's screaming, the kaiju inserts something in his mouth, and that's where everything goes black. Let's move on to Hibino at the hospital. He wakes up, and he's like Reno's next to him because Reno also got hurt. And so Hibino wakes up and he's like, hey, how are you? And Reno's just like staring at him, and Hibino is like, why are you looking at me like that? Like, what's wrong? Oh, here. Oh yeah, the kaiju attacked him when he was at the hospital. Anyways, and that's where Hibino turns into a kaiju. And he is named Kaiju number 8. So the kaijus, depending on the level of force, they get named after numbers, right? So like Kaiju number 8, there's a Kaiju number 9, a Kaiju 10, so on. And that's the main story of Kaiju number 8. We follow Hibino trying to control these like new powers, and he actually ends up passing the the Defense Force test, and now he's part of the Defense Force. Now in these continuation volumes, we see and learn that parts of the kaiju can be turned into weapons to be utilized against the same kaijus, or there could be like special suits where the kaiju and the person who is wearing the suit are connected, so there's a bit, so this person is a lot more powerful. Now in 9th volume we end where there's going to be this huge kaiju attack, and that's where the rest of this like entire part, like this, all of these volumes, we follow that attack. Number 13 also ends with the continuation of the attack because one of the captains has been attacked as well, and Hibino saved her. But yeah, I have not read the 14th volume, and I hope my explanation made sense. Now, I really like Kaiju number 8. I think it has become one of my favorite shonens for a lot of different reasons. I feel like I really like the fact that we're following a grown adult and not like a middle schooler. Yeah, so Hibino, I think he's 29 or something, because the age limit to take the test to join the Defense Force is 30. And at the beginning of the first volume, we learned that year where he's supposed to take the test is the last opportunity he has to join the Defense Force because he's about to turn 30. That's one of the aspects that I like. Again, the like whole cleaning crew, I feel like we needed to explore that a little bit more, just a tiny bit, but I did like that part. And yeah, the overall story is really interesting. Like the action part, the actual plot of the story, like trying to figure out where all the kaijus are coming from, where are they getting their powers and all of that, their strength. It's really interesting. I really like it, and I recommend Kaiju number 8 to anyone who wants to read like a fast-paced action manga. 100% recommend. And it has a bit of comedy. So yeah, I think it has the best of everything. I really like it, and I 100% recommend. So let's move on to the BL. Okay, let's start off with the BL, and I have here the second volume of Mobsters in Love. Here is the back and the inside illustration. And I also read the third volume. Here it is, and the inside. So Mobsters in Love is completed with 3 volumes, and I will say that it's not my favorite, but it's also not real bad. So in Mobsters in Love we follow Aki and the boss of the Sawatari mob, and Aki was taken in by the boss when he was young, and he was willy-nilly fighting people off on the streets, and this guy sees him and he's like, hey, why don't you come use those fighting skills with me and be like my bodyguard, something like that. And that's how Aki joins the mob. The thing is, throughout the years, Aki has developed feelings for his boss, romantic feelings, and obviously that's something that cannot happen between them because one is his boss and another, they are part of the mob, right? So those types of like that type of relationship cannot be happening. And yeah, the thing is, Aki is not really good at hiding his feelings for the boss, and he tends to be really obvious, especially let's see, with how he like blushes every time they get like really close to one another. And that's where things start to become a bit like develop a little bit more, because this guy Sawatari has actually noticed Aki's feelings, but there's a bit of an issue where they try to protect one another, and that causes a sort of misunderstanding. They obviously did not communicate well, and the thing is, it gets resolved pretty much. This series is only 3 volumes, like I said, so plot wise it's not very well developed. There's not a lot, like the main focus of the story basically is Aki's feelings towards Sawatari. Other than that, there's a bit of like an issue thrown in there just to sort of cause a drama between these 2 characters. But overall I think it's a really good story. It's really cute. If you go into it like expecting something great, you're not going to get it. It is really funny, it's really wholesome, and it's really easy to get into. Yeah, it's 3 volumes, you're not committing to a lot, so I would recommend this to anyone that wants to get into BL but you're not sure where to start. I feel like this is a good place to do it. Both characters are adults, so I feel like that's something a lot of people are looking for right now. And let's move on to, I also ended up reading My Dearest Patrolman. This is the 2nd volume. The inside, and we have here the 3rd one. So another one that is completed with 3 volumes. Again, there's not much to say about this story. I really did like this one a lot more than Mobsters in Love. I feel like the romantic relationship gets developed a lot more, and it is done more well done than Mobsters in Love. I feel like with Mobsters in Love it felt very rushed. As for this one, I feel like the author Niyama knew how to write a short romantic story but do it well. Like the romance is really beautiful in this manga. And here I have the 3rd one, and this is the inside. So if you don't know what this is about, we follow Shin and Seiji, who are these 2 characters. So Shin is this guy and Seiji is this one. So they met when Shin was actually young. I think he was like in university or something. It's been a while since I've read the 1st volume, but at that time Seiji was also a cop, but there was a bit of an issue, and that's how they first met, right? So Seiji was a cop and Shin was like a problematic type of guy. He would spend his nights out and about, and that's how they first meet. Now since then Shin has had a crush on Seiji, and that's how Shin makes the decision to become a patrolman as well. Years later they reunite again, and this time it's different because Seiji is no longer a patrolman. So Seiji is no longer a policeman, and he's taking care of a convenience store that his family has had for years. Now, even though years have passed, Shin is still really in love with Seiji, and in a spur of the moment he confesses to Seiji, and Seiji is like, okay, let's give dating a try. And that's the and the 2nd and 3rd volume is a continuation of how their relationship is going to start developing a little bit more. In the 2nd volume we follow them moving in together and how it is for them to be living cohabitating now, and the 3rd one is them spending time during Christmas. And yeah, I really like this manga. I think it's really cute, it's really wholesome. It does have explicit content, so if you don't like to read that, please skip this one. But I feel like the romance story itself is definitely worth it. Yeah, I really like this one. I recommend to everyone to give My Dearest Patrolman a read. It's also a really cute, wholesome relationship. I feel like both characters know how to communicate with one another, and the misunderstandings that they have tend to be really silly, and there's not a lot of like miscommunications happening. Their relationship is really healthy, and I think it's the first one to read a healthy relationship between 2 characters that communicate and are just happy to be with one another. I recommend this one. Those were the two series that I ended up finishing in the month of August. And let's move on to everything else. Right here is either a one-shot or the first volume of a series. So let's start with this one, which is Nagahama to Be or Not to Be. This is by Scarlett Berico. This is a one-shot volume, and in this one we follow childhood friends who have always spent time together with one another, and they're about to graduate. The thing is, one has different plans for his future, and he hasn't been attending school for a while, and that's because he doesn't plan to continue with school. He actually wants to drop out and become a fisherman, go out to the sea and catch some fishes. And it's quite obvious that they both have feelings for one another, but they don't know how to communicate those feelings towards each other, because they feel like one of them is going to reject the other one. So there's a bit of fear of being rejected by their best friend, and they feel like once they confess, that might ruin their friendship. But it's obviously not the case, and it is a one shot, so there's not more to talk about. They do end up getting together, of course, and overall I feel like this was a great one shot. Again, Scarlett Berico knows how to write a good romantic story and keep it short and cozy and cute, and I recommend this one to everyone. This one does not have any explicit content, and the story itself is very good, so I recommend. And also the art, beautiful. Let's move on to The Yearning Fox Lies in a Way. This is by Enmura. Here is the back and the inside. So in this one we follow this guy who is, well, first of all, that's the year this story takes in place, and we follow this guy who is about to attend university, and he doesn't have a sense for directions. So he ends up getting lost and ends up standing in front of this mansion where this guy comes out, and his name is Kiyo, and that's Osaki, right? So as you could tell, he had a weird reaction towards his name, mainly his last name. And throughout this story, this volume, we are going to learn why he had this reaction to this guy, and that's because this guy is the grandson of a man, this Akio, what's his name, Kiyo? No. Anyways, so this guy is obviously a fox, so he has been living for thousands of years in that mansion, and during one of those many years that he has lived there, he met Kiyo's granddad, and obviously there's a bit of a connection there. Yeah, he fell in love with the granddad and has never seen him ever again, and that is until Kiyo, the grandson, shows up. And yeah, I think it was a very good manga. I don't know how to feel about it. I felt underwhelming. So the story itself is not very good, but also not really bad. It's very in the middle, because for me personally, I feel like the romantic feelings that these two characters had for one another felt very surface level. I feel like there really wasn't a deep connection between these two characters, but that's my opinion. And yeah, I would recommend this to anyone that wants to get into BL, or you're just looking for something different. Both characters are there, they know how to communicate a little bit so there is not a lot of drama, and this is a one shot, so again, you will not be committing to a lot if you get this one. Yeah, I recommend to anyone who wants to read BL. I think it's somewhat of a good place to start, but for me personally, it wasn't that big of a deal. yeah, I feel like I had bigger expectations, and that's why I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, but I will give it that the cover is really beautiful. Next up I have Nomi X Shiba. This is the first volume, and here is the inside. So in this one we follow, of course, Nomi X Shiba, who attend this boarding school where it's an all boys school, and there's obviously a bit of tension there, but both characters don't want to confess their feelings for one another for whatever reason. Like, they don't want to cause drama between like other members, and everyone but them know that they have feelings for one another. Like, it's really obvious for everyone that these two characters like each other except for the other person, right? So they both like one another, but they think that the other guy, they're not even interested in them in that way. And it's really funny to see them interact, because there's always that tension between them. And yeah, this being the first volume, they do end up getting together towards the end of this volume, but there's a bit of a push and pull at the beginning of this story, and it's really fun. You get to see them interacting, and like you get to learn about their inner thoughts about the other guy. Like, Nomi and thinks about Shiba, and Shiba thinks about Nomi. Yeah, I think this one is a really fun manga. You do follow students, and it does have explicit content, so I know not a lot of people like to read about this, but I think the story itself is really cute. Okay, so we are close to being done, and next up I have here How to Deal When Your Intimidating Neighbor is actually an Omega. This is by Nikiyu Inui. This is the front cover. Here is the back, and I first thought this was a one-shot, but apparently there's a second volume getting published in Japan, so I'm not sure if we're going to be getting that second volume here as well. But yeah, the story is basically the title. So basically we follow two neighbors. One of them is an alpha, and the alpha thinks the other guy is a alpha because of his appearance. He has a very tough looking appearance. He's like very tall. He's very muscly. He has tattoos, but very beginning of the story he learns that he is actually an Omega. And yeah, there's going to be issues of them doing it one time and then the alpha getting feelings for the Omega, but the Omega is very like, no, like, I don't like you that way, and everything's going to get resolved towards the end. I'm sorry. Yeah, hopefully that didn't show up, but yeah, they obviously end up getting together, and I don't know where they got the suspenseful part in this thing. I did not get that part at all. It is very erotic, but yeah. So how do I feel about this? I feel like the story is very mid as well. I didn't like it, but again, I didn't hate it. I feel like the story itself is very like basic. It's a story that has been done and redone over and over again, so it didn't add anything new. I feel like for some people the only new thing would be that the Omega is not like teeny tiny cute and like fragile, but I've read a lot of manhwas and mangas where the Omega is tough looking, and I do enjoy those types of mangas, but I feel like this one, the romance was very rushed and it felt very insta-lovey. And if you are new here, you might not know that I hate insta romance type of stories, and this felt very much that. If I were to rate this, I would give it a 3 stars. It was fun, it was cute, but it didn't give me anything new. And yeah, it does have explicit content, so keep that in mind. If you think you might like this one, please give it a try. So let's move on to the next one, and this is Fake Fag Lips by Machi Suhiro. And the cover, beautiful. The inside even more beautiful. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but Machi Suhero is one of my favorite BL mangakas. I've read everything she has released in Japan, obviously fan translated, but I really wish we would get more of her stories, and this is one that I really like. And this is the back. So we follow Rio and Zen, who are working at the same company. The thing is, they are rivals, quote unquote rivals. They tend to fight a lot for the tiniest thing ever since they were in high school, and I cannot believe I should. Anyways, their romance is just them bickering and fighting at every tiny chance that they get, right? And there's a time when both of them are drunk, very drunk, and they decide to make a bet, right? And the bet is, I bet I can make you fall in love with me instantly, right? And Rio and Ren are like, there's no way I'm ever going to fall in love with you, so let's bet on it, and whoever falls in love first loses, right? And yeah, that's the plot of the story. You get to see them interact a bit more and like be flirty with one another, because now their goal is to make the other one fall for him. Yeah, I think it's a really fun manga. The romance is really well done, because there's a bit of a surprise there towards the end, and I really like this manga. As you can tell, I'm very happy to be talking about this, and I'm so happy to be having this manga in physical form. And yeah, I really like Machi Suhero's stories, and I really like this one because I feel like this is one of the few mangas that she has where both characters are adults, and I really like this one. I 100% recommend this one. If you were thinking of getting this one, please do. It's a great story. You are not going to regret it. The plot itself is really silly, because the whole thing of let's bet who falls in love with the other one first is obviously going to lead to them falling in love. But again, there's a bit of a plot twist towards the end, and I think it was done perfectly well. And yeah, I 100% recommend this one. I love Machi Suhero. Please give this one a try. Next off, I have the first volume of After School Etude. Here is the front cover, the back, and the inside. So in this manga we follow Shun and Chihiro. So Chihiro has been attending a private school to be taught how to do ballet, although he's already very good at it. And Shun is a second year in this same school, and there is a project towards that he needs to work towards too, and that project involves him dancing with a second year. The thing is, at the beginning of the manga, Shun does a whole performance in front of the school, and Chihiro instantly falls in love with Shun. So when he learns that he needs to collaborate with a second year for this like dance thing, he obviously chooses Shun to be his partner. But Shun is not going to be easy to convince, because he rejects Chihiro every single time. But Chihiro finds a way to get into his good side until Shun acknowledges that he wants to be partners with Chihiro. And that's how the story begins, and how they start to become a bit of friends first. Obviously, Chihiro has feelings for Shun, and he's not very good at hiding it. And Shun is a bit of he has his issues, and I feel like it involves a teacher in this same school. But towards the end of the volume, you get to see that whole like teacher-student thing be resolved, and I don't know if that is going to be a thing that comes up again in the second volume, but for now this first volume deals with it. And yeah, towards the end, Shun and Chihiro are a couple. So I cannot wait to see how their romantic relationship is going to develop. Hopefully the author doesn't add a lot of drama, because I feel like Chihiro is really good at communicating his feelings and his desires, and Shun is very good at hiding his feelings and his desires. So Chihiro's always working hard to get Shun to open up to him. So hopefully we get to see a little bit more of that in the second and third volume, and hopefully it's not something that will be a problem with their relationship. And yeah, I cannot wait to see them dance a bit more. One thing that I really like about this manga is the way the author draws the dancing scene. They're super well done. And another BL manga that I like that also has dancing involved is 10 Dance Oops. And the way for example here, and the way the author also draws the body movement, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I recommend this one. And again, as you already saw, there's a bit of explicit content, so do keep that in mind. And the last volume I have here is I Didn't Mean to Fall in Love Double. This is by Minta Suzumaru. Here is the back and the front. So there's no color illustrations for this one, which makes me really sad. So in this one we follow Ryu and Shino, I think Yoshino. So we continue to follow their romance from the first volume, which is I Didn't Mean to Fall in Love. So if you don't know what I Didn't Mean to Fall in Love is, read the first one and then read this one, because this is the continuation of that one. I wouldn't say this is the second volume, it's just because the author doesn't do it that way. It's just the continuation of the story, because in this one years have passed, maybe not years, I think months have passed, and Roy is now a college graduate, and he is about to join the working people class. And Yoshino is very happy and excited for Roy, and that's basically it. You see Roy in his work environment, and he meets a co-worker that's having a couple of issues, and Roy goes up to Yoshino to get a bit of advice. And yeah, overall I think this is a very good story. Again, it's a very good continuation to I Didn't Mean to Fall in Love. We do get to see them be more understanding towards one another, and I feel like this is the manga where you see Roy trying to do something good, but at the same time he might have ended up hurting Yoshino's feelings, and there's a bit of realization. It's not necessarily drama because it gets resolved very fast. And yeah, again, it's just to see a continuation of their romantic story and their relationship overall. I again really like I Did Not Mean to Fall in Love, so this was a anticipated release for me, and it did not disappoint. I 100% recommend this series. Again, you need to read I Did Not Mean to Fall in Love, and then you have to read I Didn't Mean to Fall in Love double. I feel like if you don't read them in that order, this story itself might not make a lot of sense to you. Yeah, I really like this one, and I'm really happy it got published. I wasn't sure if we were going to be getting it, but so happy that we did. And that's it. That's all I read. Those were the 18 volumes I read in the month of August, and that was a lot. My throat hurts now, and I'm going to end the video here. Don't forget that if you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing, and I will see you all on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.